All right, everyone. Now it's time for a bit more of a philosophical video. One of the things that I've done on this channel for years is try to encourage people to improve themselves, drop a vice, gain a skill, market your hobbies. You play guitar real well. You may not have thought of the possibility that you can actually make some good money off of playing the guitar. And not just by joining a rock band, by the way. It's about the power of positive thinking. Now, there's one caveat to this, and this is something that I thought of yesterday. I was thinking about the concept of negative people. Positive thinking is not always going to fulfill your wishes. The fact that you get these self-help books and they say, well, it's the power of positive thinking. As long as you put a smile on your face and wave love beads around, you will succeed at life and the spirits will love you and stuff like that. A lot of it gets into the new age sort of thing. A lot of the psychological, well, I would say parapsychological stuff as well. Positive thinking does not ensure your success. The fact that you think positively does not mean that you will succeed in any particular goal. But negative thinking is very likely to hold you back from doing so. When you say that you can't do something, you are making a proclamation. You're effectively ensuring that you can't do it. Or if you say, well, I don't think that I can do this, that's holding you back. But if you say, I think I can do this, or I can do it, let's say that you shoot for the stars and hit the moon instead. You still went to the moon, right? You can still succeed more, generally speaking, if you try to keep a positive outlook. People will death spiral, for example, into negativity. So one thing goes wrong, it makes them depressed, they sort of shut down, and then there are other things that they could be doing that would be productive, that would be rewarding, other goals that they might have, or they can plow away at that same goal again and try again. But they're not willing to do that because they expect to fail. And so even if they do attempt it, it's like a pulled punch. This is a facet of this rolls over into other facets of society and personal existence, by the way, as well. Look at a military, for example. If the soldiers start getting demoralized and saying, "Well, we're never going to take that hill," eventually they're going to break, they're going to run away, and be destroyed. If they charge up the hill, there's no guarantee that they actually take the hill. But if they say, "You know what, we're going to try anyway," the possibility is there. This is something that people need to understand. This doesn't have any real deep meaning. It's a fairly rudimentary concept, but a lot of people hasn't it hasn't clicked in their brains, I think, so to speak. If you say to yourself it's impossible, well, then you're making it impossible. It's impossible for you to succeed at a goal that you're not willing to try to succeed at, or that you try to succeed at, but you expect failure to such a degree that you're like, well, I guess I'll try. Either do or do not. There is no try, by the way. Also, technically good advice. All you have to do is attempt. You have to put in the effort. For instance, you lost your job and now you're depressed. Because you're depressed, you're just sitting there in bed, all gloomy and stuff like that. Well, you could be out attempting to find other work. It would be much easier. You're like, well, I'd like to write a book, but I don't have time to do it. And so you get depressed about it. Like, oh, I can't write a book. And I used to tell myself that too. Now I've edited over 400 of them alone. You tell yourself, well, I can't write a book. There's reasons why I can't do it. And people will make up excuses, by the way, for their negativity when you confront them about it. Well, yes, but in your off time, you could be scribbling notes or something like that. Rome was not built in a day. It's not, and a lot of people, first you got the excuse making. So they'll get negative and they'll say like, I can't do something. And be like, yes, you can. You gotta try. Here's a couple of concrete ways in which you can help your effort to try to do something. And then they'll make up excuses for why those won't work. I've had this happen many, many times when I'm trying to give some degree of advice and counsel to other people, where you say, okay, here's a suggestion. It may or may not work. It may or may not work for you or any other person. Sometimes it's more individualized and things like that. But here's a suggestion. And the first thing that they do, I think, is a sort of depressive and negative mechanism, a coping mechanism, so to speak, is that they begin making excuses as to why that will not work. and you try to point out examples of other similar situations or people who went through, in some cases, absolute hell and still managed to succeed at some goal that they had, which happens quite a bit with regards to people that are eccentric, and geniuses. It happens a lot with people who are very hardworking, like, all I want to do all day is farm cows, but there's no cows to farm. Well, I mean, you could learn about goat husbandry. There's a goat farm over there. Maybe really like, well, relocate, find a place where there are cows. Well, I can't do that. I don't have the means. Yes, you do. It's called slog through the fucking filth that is society for a while, save up, get your ticket, and then go someplace where there's cows and get a job. It is possible to do. You're just saying that it's really difficult and you don't think that you can do it. So the excuse making definitely is a facet of this particular sort of paradigm. Positive thinking does not necessarily allow you to win, but negative feelings will almost certainly allow you to lose. So, given the choice between the two of them, it's better to think positively and also use your head to try to get around obstacles. You can't always plow right through them, by the way. Sometimes you have to use a little bit of innovation. You have to think outside the box. Most people, because of education the way it is, most people think well inside of the box. Most of the people who think outside of the box are either called extreme or insane. It's like crabs pulling one another back into the pot, actually. That's another thing. You should ignore other people around you that have negative intent. Like they'll tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that. You can't do this. Yes, you can. It's your choice. It's your life. You've only got one of them, at least in this current temporal body that you happen to be in. So my advice remains the same. If you can drop a vice, well, that's a huge boost to your abilities. You're a smoker. You quit smoking. Well, you're saving money. You're going to save more money on healthcare costs probably down the road, and so on forth. The smoker in some cases say, "Well, I can't quit smoking. I'm just too addicted." No, you know you're not. Just called don't buy any more packs and suffer for a little while in order to gain something far more valuable than the next smoke. And this happens, I've communicated with people throughout the years who've sought advice, and sometimes they're very receptive. I get messages still from people who, they heeded my advice years ago and now they've got a business and they never thought they could do that. All they needed was someone to tell them they can. They need someone to declare to them because some of these people, they're proclaiming they cannot. Well, I proclaim that you can. And so just trust in the sticks on this one. Not a guarantee of success, but a higher likelihood. And it has positive benefits anyway. So, less stress and higher possibility of attaining things. But if you give up right away and you never do it again, well, if you say you can't, then you can't. If you say you can, there's at least the possibility that you will. And that's basically the whole sum and substance of the concept. It's very, very easy to understand. It requires no further elaboration. That's about all. Peace out.